Hello, I'm Anna, and this is my final project on active listening. One of the most important communication skills we can use in everyday life is active listening. Active listening helps us better understand others, strengthen our relationships, and stay away from silly arguments or miscommunications. Today, I'm going to be doing a deeper dive on what active listening is, why it matters, how it works, and how we can get better at it. Active listening is more than just hearing somebody speak. It's giving someone your full attention, understanding what they're saying, and responding in a way that shows that you care. Research tells us that most people listen with only 25% efficiency, which means we miss important details or just straight up misunderstand people. Active listening is a skill that reverses this issue. We should slow down, focus on who's speaking, and be intentional with how we respond. We should make an effort to show people that their words matter. Active listening is important for many reasons. It builds trust. When you make someone feel heard, they're more likely to open up to you and communicate with you sincerely and honestly. It also reduces misunderstandings. A lot of arguments happen because people aren't listening to understand, they're listening to respond, not because people disagree. Active listening also strengthens relationships. Whether the relationship is with friends, family, classmates, romantic partners, or church family, listening allows us to connect on a deeper level. Finally, active listening makes people feel valued. When we take the time to stop what we're doing and give our attention to someone, it shows them they are important to us. There are 3 big parts of active listening. These parts are attention, understanding, and responding. Attention. This means facing the speaker, maintaining eye contact, keeping distractions away, and refraining from interrupting. Doing all these things tells who you're speaking to, you're my focus right now. Even the smallest things like nodding or leaning forward a little shows that you're engaged and somewhat invested. Understanding. You need to go beyond just hearing and process what your person is saying. Don't be afraid to ask questions either, like, can you explain that a little more? Or even paraphrase what you understand that they said. So what you're saying is, this prevents miscommunication and shows that you're really trying to understand their point. Responding. You might say something like, that makes sense, or even give encouraging nods. When you respond, it keeps the conversation healthy and lets the speaker know you care about what they're saying. A good example of active listening is when one of your friends is upset. Most of the time, especially with teenage girls, they don't want advice. They just want you to sit and listen to them. When one of my sisters tells me they're stressed or angry, I've noticed it helps when I just give them my attention. I make eye contact, I don't interrupt, and I try to repeat back the main idea of what they're saying. Even something simple like, I get why they made you feel that way. That makes them feel understood. I can actually see them relax when I do these things because they know that I'm listening. That's how we can use active listening in everyday life. Even though all of this sounds easy, there are definitely things that make it difficult. One barrier is noise or distractions, like your phone buzzing or a loud environment. It takes your attention away. Another barrier is emotional triggers. Sometimes there are topics that can make us defensive or make us upset. And when that happens, we stop listening and we react. The third barrier is when we jump to conclusions. We assume that we already know what the person is going to tell us, so we mentally just check out. And the last and one of the biggest barriers is self-focus and thinking about what we are wanting to say in advance instead of continuing to listen to what the other person is saying at the moment. When we are aware of these barriers, it actually helps us notice, and when we stop listening, we can rein it back in. There are many ways to improve our listening skills. We can reflect, which means saying, so what I hear you're saying is, this shows the speaker that you're really paying attention. Another strategy is asking open-ended questions, like, how did that make you feel? Or, what happened next? That keeps the conversation going. Using silence is a really powerful tool. When we give someone space to think, it allows for them to open up more. We can also soften our tone and our voice to prevent conflict, showing that we're listening with empathy. Finally, we can practice being curious instead of defensive. Curiosity helps us understand the person instead of arguing or shutting down. Active listening is one of the most valuable communication skills we could ever use and learn. It helps us to connect with others, solve problems, support our friends, and maintain and build up healthier relationships. When we gift our attention to someone to try and understand them and respond with care, we show them love, respect, and empathy. This is my presentation on active listening. Thank you.